So, hello, this is book review slash book discussion about the book Learning to Silence the Mind by Osho. Recently, I've been very interested towards meditation and techniques and approach. This can be a little longer, but you can hear birds chirping so early in the morning. वैसे, this is book about meditation and ideas, so it's not about stories. So how can you review it? So I thought I had this book in my Kindle. I had highlighted parts which were interesting. Then I made a note about the talking points which we're gonna discuss, uh, which will give you idea about the book discussion and everything. Before we proceed with it, first of all, no book can be according to me, no book can be must read, or you need to read it in your lifetime. So, how will we judge a book will be if it has a unique ideas or okay, whatever. Let's proceed. Like if it has some unique ideas or novel ideas that you can think of, you can give it a think, then I think it is a good book. But those ideas shouldn't be bullshit. This was just a thought from me right now, which has nothing to do with the book, or it has. Let's again. Flow of the book is good, which means that even though it is not a thriller or science fiction, flow is good. Generally, when I read Osho's book, flow is good. Like you can page turns quickly. It is book on meditation. Still, it has a good flow. Like not very difficult terms. And one thing I liked about this book is many stories given in it, like the analogies. When he tries to explain something, there are stories related to it. It can be true, it can be made up stories. Like it can be half true, it can be half like made up. But there are also real interactions. Like let me give you example. किंग ऑफ वाराणसी जैसे कि किंग ऑफ वाराणसी की एक स्टोरी थी एंड द ओजी लाइक which I like the most is conversation between Alexander the Great and I forgot the name of philosopher uh, who was famous for cynicism, Diogenes or something like that, of classical Greek philosopher. Then there is a Edison story. There is almost all of the famous person stories, Socrates. So they appear, give you some learning. I don't know about my pitch of the sound. Is it too loud or not? But okay. And then there are two parts you can divide this book on lecture and questions. And this is not a written book, like he has not written it. He has given lectures on the topic and then it later translated into a book. So lecture after the whole thing is over, reporters or sannyasins as they call it in the book, they ask him questions. So maybe 30% of the part is questions. When I feel little more concentrated is a third question which I liked like the most. You can read that chapter directly as well. It is like I thought it was a good chapter. And there are like different questions. We'll come to that. Let me talk about my experience reading this book. So as of now, you can see it is not a book review, it's a full book discussion, and it's not even a full discussion, but we'll see. This book helped me calm down. Here I'm trying to say is that definitely doing meditation or maybe doing it for a longer time will help you calm down or everything. But when I read the book about like there are different topics and like different thoughts, they give you like they make you calm for a certain period of time. You think there's no problem. You think like the little glimpses of meditative success, they come and go, but the main thing is that awareness makes you calmer. Like awareness has impact on it. Psychology also says it, that more you are aware, more things will happen to you. So also coming to this, that it is not totally about meditative techniques. There are meditative techniques which are mentioned, and like meditative techniques of Osho, which I have not tried, or I don't know specifically. I have like a little idea of it, but even if you try some older meditation techniques or some simple ones that you know of, focus, the book more about is the approach to meditation and the broader meaning of meditation. It almost says that meditation is not like the practice. It is practice, but it is more in general bliss or transcendence or basically nirvana, elevation. So there are, while reading the book, you may get glimpses of it. It comes and go, those experiences, because you're getting aware of the broader meaning of life. I used to read it before night, so it is almost like it reminds you of the grandness and beauty of universe. कि पूरे दिन में जो भी चीज़ें हो रही है, you it seems small. It reminds you of your true nature, like at least it mentions it. So now I'll say that don't believe in true nature, that thoughtlessness and bliss is true nature because it is written in books. Try to experiment with yourself. Try to find and ask yourself, okay, because we make this mistake of believing something which we don't actually understand what it is. So I'll say, experiment with yourself. Is it the true meaning of true nature is thoughtlessness or not? But just thinking about all of this and giving it a thought, which increases your awareness, like which makes you aware about the certain things. Like there are different techniques and different things available, but it makes you more aware, and which means gives you more control in life, or which allows you to lose yourself in uncontrollable life, which is eventually a controlled person will do. Also, what it talks about how you feel when you're in bliss or you're liberated. So, yeah, the word I was looking for was liberation. Meditation in more terms of liberation than in general meditative sense. So, वो कैसी बातें करती है about the state about the state of meditation and bliss, that it once it it talks about the nature of that state. So we are chasing that state according to this narration of the book, or in deeper meaning we are actually not chasing, we are just sitting there and waiting for that to come. But okay, let's say we are chasing it, and once it comes, it is like it never goes. Once it comes, it is irreversible. There are other things about that state as well. And one more interesting thing is that it's a contrasting view from the book, The Mind Illuminated, by you can check. I have not read that full book, but I was uh, I was reading it as well. So the process is very different in both of the books. The Mind Illuminated is also highly regarded book in meditation and stuff. It more talks about practice, how you can improve your practice, and through that you can become a better meditator, a better person. But the thing is that you can go back to the lower state of meditation once you lose the touch of the meditation. So it is like saying ki it is a practice, and Osho says it little different, that it's a approach. Once you learn it, you cannot unlearn it. In a way that Osho has some different approach or broader meaning, and this book also, once you become aware, once you start practicing, you will also feel ki you will be in the ocean, okay, and then you have to swim through it. So eventually you will get there, or you will be in it. So that's the main thing about it, that you need to be in ocean. Wow. Sitting online, we are saying we need to be in ocean. So other books on meditation which I'm excited to read about is, there are few by Osho. There's this Mind Illuminated. There's book by Swami Vivekanand, and it's called Meditation and Its Methods. Also, I was looking. Okay, I have this book, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, which is about 112 meditation practices, a conversation between Shiva and Shakti. And these methods are thousands of years old. They were available since thousands of years. And I think also only popularized it. I got to know about other meditation techniques. I wasn't aware. Aware is the word which I'm using again. Okay, I didn't know about these techniques. There are tantric meditation, Zen meditation, yogic meditation, Hindu meditation, Buddhist meditation. Got to know about this through a Dr. K video, and I've tried few, by few I mean one or two, and there are different physiological effect they have. In a way, you can say that all of the meditative techniques are a physiological experience that you get. Uh, this is what also J. Krishnamurti said in this book only, to which Osho agreed, and in another part I think he disagreed. You have to see. So on it he says, on physiological effect and as well, that it is not about getting physiological effects that you can get from maybe drugs as well, like diseases, all diseases happen to human beings, but meditation is about being available, being present, so that meditation can find you, so that bliss will come to you. You need to be open. And there's this Henry Ford story about it, that you need to, it is about opportunity. I think that there are a lot of opportunities, and you need to be present, or you need to stay open, so that when opportunity comes, you are there. That's the same with meditation. So now you're seeing it, right? There is state of mind, there is techniques, there's practices that you will do, but the state of meditation, or state of bliss, or state of liberation will come to you, and it cannot be forced, basically. That's the meaning of book, that's the essence of books. And you cannot run behind it. The moment you run behind it, you are not available to it, because you have now desires. Again, a point about awareness, that he says that talking about meditation already is contradiction, because meditation cannot be talked through, because it's an experience. uh, Not everybody has had it, so you cannot describe it, and it is beyond this world. It is like ecstasy. The main point is to, he talks about seed, the effort to make you little more aware. And I think psychology also says this, that you, you need to be more aware to your problems, to your brain, to how your brain works. Then he goes into the definition of word meditation and sort of epistemology of it. He says that the right word is Sanskrit word called dhyana, and there doesn't exist any parallel word in other languages, because dhyana comes from Indian tradition or East tradition, which has been because of the culture around it. No other language have people tried it or experienced the state it denotes, because like Westerners were more on synthesizing or on psychological front of mind, like analyzing the mind and not trying meditation. They have started like just right in this period, but yogis did it for so many years, and they had that much time. We don't have that much time, so that we can experiment with it. And it is basically a physiological experiment, which you can be more aware, or which can be more knowledgeable of, if you have had those experiments or experiences, which requires time, like lots of hundreds of thousands of years, because some of the experiments might not work. And also, if you see the current meditators, Westerners doing meditation, they are seeing it more as a tool to improve in life, to make other aspects of life better through meditation, and not seeing it as a whole worldview where there exists only meditation. I'm like using meditation uh, similar to, or like exactly same meaning as the Brahma, which is the concept we have, Brahma or universe. I'm using them like equal to meditation, because that's what this book talks about in context of this book. I'm having a lot of difficulty because I cannot read it, what I had written in it. what is this? He makes very interesting association between contemplation, concentration, and meditation. Meditation is not concentration or contemplation. Those both are two different things. Uh, okay, you can read it. Also, there is this very interesting topic he talks about, which is relevant today as well, which is about you'll see this in marketing that uh, one guy who has expertise in who specializes or who has had experience in one field will talk about some other field which people will associate him as the main figure, and by those things that he is marketing. uh, so this is very common, and also in news debate you'll see this. Okay, he explains this that when scientist comes to church, scientist is not coming to church. A a normal person who happens to be a scientist is coming to church. So the science part is not the main part that is coming to the church. A normal person who has meat is coming to church. So to our point, meditation is not contemplation or concentration, because there is no object in meditation. In concentration and contemplation, there is object. In contemplation, you can say what you're thinking about is object, and in concentration, you can say a theory or a theory you want to diagnose, theory you want to get deep into is object. But in meditation, there is no object, because you are the object. You cannot uh, contemplate or concentrate on yourself, because you cannot divide yourself. In order to observe, you need to have object and the observer, but you are the object and the observer, so you cannot dissect yourself. That's the problem in it. That's what he argues. And in final chapter, I remember he says that uh, you need to get out of your mind. Mind is an object, so you need to get out of it and observe it. So there's little contradiction in between, but I get the sense. uh, Both of the situations are different, and thing he tried uh, the thing he was trying to convey. So you'll see little contradiction in even in one book or lecture as well. Okay, it was little confusing but not contradicting. This is what I was saying, that flow of thoughts, it might be different, you can pick it up differently, but it is present there, like in a complete structure. But when you get it by one piece, you think it is different. So he says one very clear distinction can be that your soul can contemplate on your mind, because your mind is not you. Your mind is object, a tool, just like heart or hand. And psychology sees the same, not about soul. It is unsure about soul, but the mind. That mind plays tricks, and it is just a tool. And mostly it is not you. There's debate on this, that what is you? You are basically addition of all the things like mind, brain, and events that has occurred to you, which can be true. But in this sense, let us continue with this very popular thing to say nowadays. I can see a lot of reels about this, that atheist and agnostic making arguments about that a religious person is atheist for 101 religions, but theist for one religion, and atheist is atheist for 102 religion. Of course, this argument goes way back, and Osho did the same argument as well, which you can find in the book. You can see him calling out Bob the Pollock and literally hate him. So you'll never see a hater like Osho. So Bob the Pollock was like you cannot do practices directly to God. You need to have mediator. It was argument like that. You can check it, but he like literally roasted him. So that thing I like, because the Pollock was relevant at that time as well. I think like he was present at that time, and also was big figure as well. So you cannot see such things happening right now. One person directly calling out other one so easily. This thing I liked, that you need to have open discussions, like say whatever is in your mind. Don't just be afraid, because it can it can be a controversial thing to say, but if it is a truth, you need to say it. Also, the Kant story is great, the story about Immanuel Kant. And I didn't know this lifestyle about Immanuel Kant. I have read few of his theories, maybe uh, that imperative theory about that imperative theories of Kant, but I had imagined him like completely different person from what his lifestyle was. And in this book he talks about his lifestyle, and through this he makes a distinction between a successful people like Kant and a blissful people, like saying that Kant was completely opposite of blissful people, but he was successful because he had system developed around it. One line I liked from this book is, Dhyana doesn't mean I am meditating. Dhyana means I am in meditation. And if you go even further, if you progress even further, it means I am meditation. And there's this history about journey of meditation. China, Buddha, Pali, Sanskrit. So through China it went to sorry through Buddha it went to China, and then to Japan and everywhere else. And so, to understand meditation better, second chapter is very important. Or so it is, meditation is your nature. Basically, mind and thoughts, when they disappear, when you have no thoughts, or you have clarity of mind, which means no thoughts, uh, no thoughts, or maybe no conflicts. Okay, now I'm realizing that when you have clarity of mind, no thought can take birth. Like no thoughts can appear when you have ultimate clarity of mind, and that is maybe meditation or silence. So, meditation is your true nature, which means when you attain it, you're coming back to it. So means you are right now away from your true nature, or you have developed ऐसे परतें डेवलप करी है जो विच आर ऑफ thoughts, which are of desires, which are of conditioning, which are of like the life that you have lived, all of that. And when you dissect it one by one, then you come back to your true nature. And Buddha calls it parabrutti, coming back to your energy, coming back of your energy to source. And the process will be that mind is culprit, and to understand its trick, and this can be said in psychology as well. About psychological problems, they say that you need to understand trickeries of mind so that you can better deal with it. And in Indian philosophy, there is this concept called Leela, and I I've studied in philosophy that it is also said to be one of the reason of creation of this universe, which is Leela, which is called Leelavad, which means that there's no reason as we think, but it is because of play. लीला विच ऑल्सो जैसे कि कृष्णा करते थे वो लीला. एंड प्रिपेयर दिस द ट्रू नेचर इज एम्प्टीनेस. You accumulate throughout your life something, and life before it is true nature. Okay. Accumulation of meaning happens after life. Life before it is emptiness, which is true nature. Why does it feel like it kind of goes into nihilism? But like it says that you were not here before your birth, and you will be not here after your death, which means there is emptiness, true. But in this context, we say that we are the universe, which means we were here, we will be here, and we are here currently as well. Which I okay, which is basically what is Gita saying. One very very interesting concept. Uh, I was quite intrigued by this and quite surprised by this when I got to know. It is of boredom. The concept is of boredom. When we chant, let's say whenever you chant anything to get into meditation, like जैसे कि राम नाम ही अगर हम chant करें, it is because of boredom that you go into meditation. Like mind has thousands of thoughts, but when you repeat ram 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 or any other mantra for so long, then kind of mind shuts down and you go into meditation. Like that's the very core why chants were developed. like for child like for child, आप उसे सोने से पहले लोरी सुनाते हो, तो he gets bored and he sleeps because of your loris. Also he gives example of Buddha, where after 1 hour of meditation or 1 hour of silence, he used to feel sleepiness. So after that he used to walk. And also I was intrigued that you know, like he is not above us, like he was not divine or something. He was a normal person, and uh, he guided himself into uh, like higher consciousness. So we think of these figures as like some ultra beings, but they also feel sleepiness. Okay, I didn't check if he felt sleepiness or not, but through this story. Okay, so there is this very sound argument which we'll know. He criticizes education system and religious people and also masochist, which means जैसे कि not giving yourself enough sleep or enough food. Let's say upvas can be great. Upvas can have a great effect on your digestion as well, but just to be masochist, if you extend it too long in order to gain something, that's wrong. And that's what he talks about, that uh, hunger or fast makes your mind dull and not intelligent, because your body also suffers from it, and your body needs sleep and food, and you cannot go above it, because at the end of it you're under physiological needs, of course. He says that God is not an ascetic, otherwise there wouldn't be any flowers. Like God is a fun person. Okay, he talks about creative person and non-creative persons. He says that for creative people it is easy to go into meditation. Well, I don't know about these claims. Oh, okay, but he makes pretty like long justification and stories and all. But we have to see. And one other thing, that ambitious people cannot enter into meditation, or cannot become meditation, because by true nature they are ambitious, which means they have desire, as simple as that. Because the foundation is to be non-ambitious, which makes me wonder that very basis, that you need to meditate, or you need to be meditation, or you need to uh, go above your consciousness, comes also from desire. So I think what it is that you can be a ambitious person, but once you know this, you want to be meditation, and then through that you become aware and starts your journey, so you will be at the start of your journey a ambitious person. But what he says is, you cannot become meditative person when you're ambitious too, because at the end of it you can be a different person. You can be a non-ambitious person who then has no desire. He started off with the desires, of course, and then he got aware, and then okay, processes, all the processes. Okay, Osho says this: eat, walk, do everything while being alert, while being aware. uh, so I'd listened to this in Mahabharata as well. कृष्णा says this: जब संसार सोता है तब मुनि जागता है. And when Parth asks him question, तब वो कहता है कि मैंने रात दिन की तो बात ही नहीं की. I think this is pretty similar idea of staying aware while whatever happens to you, whatever you do, like just staying aware. And I was also reading about this in some psychological research that your desires, there's some relation between your desires. When you, let's say, want to eat, you can eat whatever you want, but while eating that stuff, just stay aware, uh, and your desires will die. Maybe that's the essence. He has throughout his book a lot of difference between East and West. He seems to understand it very well. He says that East had a richness in past, and now West has it. That's why West is moving towards meditation, and to be meditative you need to have a certain harmony, which is that outside richness should match your inside richness. Inside richness is the meditation, or is your awareness, is your mind, is your what you think, like your logic. And to deeper to that, like meditation, like silence of mind. And outward richness is materialistic, basically, viewpoint. So if you are poor, you cannot think about questions about life. This is pretty common. भूखे को सिर्फ भूख लगती है, सवाल नहीं लगता. So you need to have harmony. And about this he had, if you have seen that documentary Wild Wild Country, there also he talks about this perfect person, Zorba the Buddha, where he wants to blend maybe East or West, or the seriousness and like Zorba and Buddha. Zorba is I think Greek guy who was fun and as we talked about, a Leela Vadi person, and Buddha, a serious meditative person. So does that mean he had this ambition of combining or making Zorba the Buddha? Does that mean he had ambition? Such question always makes me think. I mean, also this conversation between Alexander the Great and Diogenes, which is in book. There also Diogenes, through his talks, you can feel that he is also not maybe perfect. He is also not the complete guy. He is little more aware, but he is not also quite there. This is my assumption, okay? So yeah, the Sorba the Buddha, where body and soul is one. That old dichotomy of body and soul is not present. There is body and there is soul, which is one. So there is no division. So he says that Charvak, you must be knowing about Charvak. Uh, Charvak's philosophy is about, I would say in modern terms, about consumption, uh, about stimulation, like living in the present, but through lot of consumption, like do whatever you feel like, kind of a statement. uh, Pete, matlab, and also there is Epicurus from Greece. So Charvaks and Epicurus are materialistic viewpoint, and are Shankar and Nagarjuna says that body is Maya. So they only believe in soul. So Osho says that body is also there and soul is also there. So both of the parties like Charvaks and Epicurus and Nagarjuna and Sankaracharya are wrong. So both are half wrong, half right about that uh, soul exists, and half right that body is the only thing existing. But in reality, both of these things exist. What Sankara had said was that body is Maya. So you can say that it is a Maya, but it still exists. That's the point. So maybe Shankar was not saying that it doesn't exist, but he was saying that it is Maya. So bliss is the goal and meditation is the means. Okay, and at the end of it, meditation and bliss becomes the one. Like there's no differentiation at the end. As far as I understood, this is what it is. But bliss is the goal. Like bliss is the end state, and meditation is the mean, which means meditation is the process. So these words are a little confusing. At some point, he says that meditation is the state, which means that you become meditation, which is true. So you can use that word parallelly to define bliss. And meditation, if you see it as a technique or as a process. So around here he makes point that meditation is not physiological. Pleasure is physiological, uh, sadness and happiness is physiological, meditation is not, which he goes on to contradict in J. Krishnamurti question later in the book. But here as well you can find that the context maybe is different. What he says in J. Krishnamurti question that yes, everything is physiological. This state of meditation is also physiological, but you attain it. That's what matters. What is behind it doesn't matter. I don't think so. He said, I don't think so. He said this, but that's what you can understand out of it. That may be physiological, but it is meditation, and whatever happens, like described, whatever described before also happens even if it is physiological. And what he says in this chapter that it is not physiological. Pleasure, happiness and sadness are physiological, which means that he wants to differentiate between them because sadness and happiness comes and goes, but meditation or sannyas or liberation or bliss doesn't come and go. They stay forever if you attain it once. He says it is dissolution of ego, dissolution of the identity, dissolving your separate identity into one. Okay, one analogy I myself like apart from this book is that your mind is Gada. Uh, and this universe is the outer world of Gada, like outer side of the Gada. And this is the medium, like this is the uh, membrane. Gada is the membrane. So through meditation which is the mean, you break the Gada. So inside the Gada was your ego, your identity, and now it becomes one with the universe. So the mean is meditation. Through meditation you will break the Gada. Everybody is born with certain talent. Unless he lives the talent to its fullest, something in him will remain missing. So we saw earlier about food and sleep, that he opposes uh, you to refrain from sleep or food, which means that you need to complete all of your needs. And so he believes in this thing that everybody is born with certain talent, so you need to live that talent to your fullest in order to get content with that feeling. So now nothing is missing. So food, sleep, your physiological needs, all of that pyramid that was in some concept, you need to get rid of it. Then you come to the meditation. Then you come to the final question of your life. Here are some talks about mind. Mind is a good servant in the hands of silence. Then the being is the master. The being which has become silence is the master of mind, and mind is a tool which can be helpful for a being or the silence or the universe. So Krishna says the same in Gita, that mind is a servant and you need to master it. He gives example of some horses that uh, लगाम घोड़ों की मास्टर के हाथ में होनी चाहिए. Okay, there's this very interesting thing. Mind is social phenomena. Man can only exist in society. So mind is social phenomenon. Our mind is social phenomenon correctly so. Like mind has got inputs from society, from environment, uh, like from cues that cues from environment. So that is making of mind. That is how mind has been built. But I am not sure, neither is science, about uh, that mind cannot exist without society. So I think that you can have problems even without society, but we cannot know about it because you'll say that everything you and mind has come from society. So how can you imagine yourself without society, because that has happened never before. We're talking about evolution. Pretty much interesting, like very very important thing he talks about. Okay, this I had learned, I had read somewhere. Also Dr. K talks about it, that ultimate fear of human being is fear of death once you conquer it. भाई अब तो बहुत आने जाने लग रहे हैं यार ये झुम झुम झुम. So ultimate fear is fear of death. Once you conquer it, you have conquered all of your fear. And also says that that fear comes from time consciousness, that you are aware of the time that makes you fear death. So in East Hindu, time was eternal. That's why they didn't develop clock. So mostly they were not anxious to this level because they were not time conscious. And in West, and particularly Islam and Christianity, brought uh, this concept of that you have only one life. So now there is concept of time. You need to utilize your time because you only have one life. So now through time consciousness comes the fear of death, or through fear of death comes the time consciousness, which gives you in turn anxiety. So if you can conquer either of those things, you can conquer anxiety or all of your fears. So this is very important in modern context as well, that you're told to do multitasking, you're told to utilize your time, you're told to hustle, to work harder, which is basically giving into the fear of time consciousness, fear of time, uh, giving into it because you want to utilize it. You're afraid of making less out of your life. So even if you do, even if you keep on doing it, even if you keep on doing it, then also that fear will remain, uh, unless if you don't have that fear, that doesn't mean that you will not do anything. Because you don't have any fear, then okay, it is obvious. So basically no fear is better. As I told you before, that he goes very deep into East and West and other ideas around it, how certain things develop because of one thing, that was culture in East and in West. So one such thing is being versus doing. In East, the importance was of being, and in West, importance is of doing. Like people will ask you, what have you done, what have you achieved in your life? So the importance is of doing and not the person. So what you have done is of importance, and in the West no one will ask you, in the ancient time, not right now, uh, no one will ask you about what have you done. That's why sannyasins, that's why monks were respected. So there's also this story of Buddha that comes into it. Uh, the king going to meet Buddha with respect, and the conversation with his mantri. So there is this slowly and hurry thing, which again comes down to time consciousness and desires. That one who goes slowly reaches it. Someone in hurry will always be tense and will not reach the final destination, the movie. No, so the story is also good in it. So always there's some story to what he is trying to say, and that story is like very very good. And one practical thing, or one practical advice he gives for such practices, is to go in aloneness, go in aloneness, go in aloneness, go in isolation for 3 months, where you don't do anything, where you sit and wait in those 3 months, like which is like you accept your boredom. So he says, when there is no doing, you become aware of being. When there is no doing. So case of Diogenes and the story of Alexander Great. Diogenes was a main person behind cynicism. It says that a person is driven by his self-interest, and there is also the story in this book as well about Diogenes, which talks about it. And that story is one of the best from this book, because you can get so many ideas, you can infer so many things, you can get so many meaning out of like every word he or Alexander the Great says. uh, and one thing that touched me was when Alexander the Great says that I'll do it after I conquer the world. And Diogenes says that why not today? Why you need to conquer the world first and then sit in peace? Uh, is conquering the world the precondition for sitting in peace? Does everybody have to conquer the world first in order to like sit? And Second thing he says that no homecoming for, like, if you have desire, it will keep on growing, so there will be no homecoming. You will fall into the structure of desires only. Society takes you away from being meditative, so it makes you non-meditative through its structure and conditioning, and uh, making making you choose one thing, or making you or shaping you something into something, like doctor, engineer, you need to be something. So there's this story about Osho in university, which is very interesting as well. He talks about Freud's psychoanalysis, Carl Jung's collective unconscious, and Carl Jung's collective unconscious, I think, is irrelevant to this, maybe because it is true as well, and Jung's collective unconscious is more on spectrum of evolution, which says that everybody, a human shares collective consciousness. Like your personal consciousness can be different, but human says collective consciousness because of evolution, and which is called something you can study about it later. Freud's psychoanalysis is where psychology, like psychotherapy, like psychiatrist psychotherapy starts, going back to the problems, going back to your life, the trauma and everything. So that is it. And Assagioli's psychosynthesis is about your personality, and through that dealing with the problems. So all of the two are dealing with the problems. Also says that uh, those are working within the mind, and the psychology of the Buddhas is transcendence, which is to go beyond mind, which is called ecstasy. The problem is that uh, in psychology of Buddha, you go beyond mind, as I told you the earlier about object. uh, Mind is object, so you go to distance from mind loses its grip and mind disappears, and that's what is called meditation. And main issue with psychoanalysis is that even after psychotherapy of tens of years, it is pruning leaves of the tree, like basically you're cutting you're cutting ill organs of yourself, but basically they might grow back, at least in the case of trees. Like new leaves will be coming up. So it is a method of management and not the permanent solution. Psychosynthesis says that it, according to him, is gluing back leaves which will which will look bad, which are also not alive. So, and psychology of Buddhas, because your mind is detached after you go outside from mind, because your mind is detached, now the roots, the connections are cut, and this is the permanent solution for all of your problems. And J Krishnamurti's thoughts on this, and heard in his video on this, was that the basic thought about you going beyond your mind comes from your mind. So this is like very tricky. The basic thought of doing something is or going beyond your mind is coming from your mind. So this is one problem from about this. One of the meaning of meditation is to just sit and wait. So there is the story about Buddha and his disciple, where Buddha tells his disciple to go to particular lake or stream of water and go get him some water. Wow. Then he goes and there is mud and leaves all over in that water, and Buddha says that I want water from that same river, and now he sends him again. He goes there, he waits, and everything settles down. Water is clean again, and this was the message that your this thing, mind or yourself, is the river, and thoughts are like leaves and mud. So whenever that mud comes, you need to just wait. So your soul is that disciple, so you just need to wait, and whenever that flows, you don't need to intervene, or don't need to do anything. That will settle down, and whenever it does, there is like water left. uh, so the story alone was essence of the meditation. Okay, there's some. Okay, I had titled it Pseudoscience of Osho, which is he talks about deeper centers of brain that people who work with their hand feel less stress and less tension because they are connected with deeper centers of brain, left hand with right brain, and right hand with left brain, which is true biologically, but the reason behind it that they feel less tension, and people working with their brain feel people working with their head feel a lot of tension because the energy gets trapped, and in hand thing energy doesn't get trapped, which is wrong. You feel less stress because while working with hands, it is because of some chemical reaction, like some chemicals releasing, and while working with hand, let's say in knitting, you are more aware more aware of things. That's why you're less stressed. Like more aware, I mean more in the present moment. Like let's say you're playing cricket, you're more in the moment, and that's why you're less stressed. That is the reason, uh, and not the energy part that he had said. So you'll also see some pseudoscience from him in many of his books. I think I've read only this one, and some part of other books, but that is because maybe science was not developed, or it was in the process. He was very wavy in that moment. But okay, contingency. This is about if this moment is happy, like if this moment is you're feeling happy, you cannot feel in another moment this happy, because uh, that moment will also born out of the very previous moment. So if you continue to be happy, or if you continue to be silence, that silence or that happiness cannot go away. That is the contingency argument. Very famous contingency right now, but that is what he gives. So that's why tomorrow and present is far more important than planning. So he uh, like says no to tomorrow and no to planning. So that's why also he is against scheduling. That doesn't mean we're not going to schedule. I know you're tense, think it is imaginary and it will go away. This is one of the tips, or you can say, like whenever you're tense, you don't think that it is imaginary. That's why it stays. Uh, and this is scientific, that it is imaginary. uh, in evolutionary process, there was this survival instinct in human beings, which made him tense or anxious, because he was afraid for his life, because at those times there were greater threats. But that thing continued with us, and now there are less greater less I mean there are less threatening circumstances in current situation. In present, there's like literally no animal coming for us, still we feel anxious, which is not fair, which is imaginary. So if you think that it is imaginary when you are feeling it, mostly it will go away, because again you are more aware. I think it works most of the time. Whatever is taken as real becomes real, and whatever is taken as not real becomes, okay, vice versa. So you are the creator around the world around you. So okay, in current circumstances, we guilt too much, we regret too much, we beat the shit out of ourselves, we hate ourselves, we have never felt content from ourselves. And there's also no self love. So that is the reason we feel not happy about our life, because the whatever stuff is going on is wrong, like guilt and regret and making yourself feel bad. This is also like pretty accurate in psychological terms, that what you are the creator of the world around you. So like positivity and stuff has got something to it, manifestation as well. Not quite in the sense that those books and those videos tells you about, but like this is it, whatever you take inside. Yeah, whatever you take inside. No. uh, he says that energy is present in you. If you don't use it for happiness, it will get translated into unhappiness, and you have long lasting habits, deep rooted habits for unhappiness. So for that we have deep rooted habits, so that's why energy flow is easy. Now finally we come to question parts, which I'm going to cover like quickly. Why is the need for meditation technique, someone asks. So basically he says, for preparing ground. J Krishnamurti's opinion comes as well in this one, that he said that there is no requirement of any meditation techniques, which also agrees on, but okay, give some reasons. Okay, all of these are like still relevant, so I'm gestalt therapy and encounter group and primal therapy, you can look out, like that's pretty interesting. And especially gestalt therapy, it is about that all of the problems are because you are not staying in present, so it makes you stay in present. uh, that is it about the idea. Need for new meditative technique. Why is there a need for new meditative technique? Because it is the tradition that creates mind. So now tradition changed because of the technology, and this is especially relevant because there was no so much high stimulation stuff at time of Osho, but right now it is. So your brain has become even more jumpy or monkey like. So he has like this meditation called dynamic meditation, I don't know in much detail, but it is maybe more to tackle modern brain. So where this interesting fact about Khajuraho temple, that those sculptures, those things, sexual things outside of the temple were actually meditation tool. It was a check for going inside. Like if you pass the check, like if there's no thoughts arousing from you, there are sexual desires, then you can go to the temple. That was the tool, like check. Guess what? Guess how did Gandhiji get the idea of this thing? Maybe from Khajuraho temple. And this is very important. Like this is the one of the most important question. Whenever I feel more centered and aware, I don't feel any problems. Like 137 page question 3, I think. Whenever I feel more centered and aware, I don't feel any problems. uh, this you might feel as well, I feel as well. Let's say when you are around at 4 to 5 a.m. in the morning, and the second period for me is around 5 to 6 p.m., like uh, in the evening. I feel lot better in that time, and I feel like all of the things are solved for me. I'm uh, have great clarity of mind in that time. So that is what that is. Whenever I feel more centered and aware, I don't feel any problems. For me, that is the time period. So he says that that could very well be a physiological thing, actually biological, physiological. ब्रह्म मुहूर्त भी मे भी उसको उसीलिए कहते थे. And also when you wake up there is no thoughts and your brain is calmer. Very great analogy, that problems arises from unawareness. That is what we have been talking for 1 hour almost. But if we repress those problems, then by repression I mean indulgence, let's say reels, series, video games. Then if we repress those problems, we might never come to become aware of it, because we are afraid of becoming aware. Like we are afraid of success and not of failure. We are becoming afraid of being aware. And you'll see that all of the habits of like today's generation is to indulge in stuff, indulge in a lot of stuff. uh, our tolerance is declining around stuff of like everything. So that's a universal problem of attention tolerance. uh, yeah, around that, right? So running away from problem. So when you're unconscious, you create problem. It is like groping in darkness, picking one thing and falling into another. And yeah, because there is darkness. When there is light, you see all of the things clearly. So there's no problem when there is light. And one other thing is that awareness cannot be forced. Okay, this was almost like a lecture, yeah. I fucked up the format. This was not supposed to be like a lecture. But okay, I guess you cannot review a book like this one without discussing its ideas, because it's not stories that I can say that okay, it's a 4 out of 5 story. It was necessary to discuss ideas. Maybe you found it good. okay, when there is anger and you try to become aware of it forcefully, one point comes when you are exhausted, and then that anger comes out of that boiler, and you're again like burst of anger comes out. And okay, I got this from that a lot of people say that keep it in yourself, keep it in your mind, show them whenever your day comes, show them revenge, work in silent, and like people will get to know about you. This is also like a bad practice, don't you think so? Because what you're essentially saying is that keep that negativity in yourself for so long, and eventually it will come out. I don't think so that's a good thing to do. Like, why are you keeping that negativity in yourself? That's what we call toxic boost, toxic motivation, right? So that's harming and not healthy practice. Even if you're getting motivated by something, but that thing is damaging you, then that's not good. So awareness is like passing of cloud ko observe karna. That is awareness, and a person with that will have a relaxed mind, a playful mind, and will have Leela. Like okay, it's like almost summarizing. And now, because of that, I was getting to this thought that Eastern God has no rest, and in Western God there is concept of rest, like 6 days and one day of that concept basically comes from Greek, I suppose. So when you do Leela, there is no need for rest. And you can see Krishna's life as well. It was like that only. Meditation is subjective phenomenon, says some questioner. That's why research is not possible. And also agrees on it that it is absolutely subjective experience, and because that experience only you can do and cannot invite someone else to do it. And that's why uh, when we have this research, they are definitely helpful in West. The study of psychology, they are definitely helpful. Whatever Freud did was helpful, but you will not see a lot of people getting liberated from West, while you'll see a lot of people getting liberated from East, because rishis did experiences and experiments on themselves. They didn't dissect another person, but they did on themselves, so that they can understand themselves better, and literally you cannot fix it for some other guy, because you don't have the command of him. Like, you can experience yourself, but by touching someone you cannot experience them. Okay, it sounds so. Finally, segue to another book, 112 Methods of Meditation, Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. He says that there cannot be any new meditative techniques, because there have been, through thousands of years, there's 112 methods of meditation, and there's no need to add anything other than that, uh, because you'll find your meditative technique according to your personality in that, which I'll also review after reading it. I also want to read again, as I said, Mind Illuminated, and also want to practice it, but some other books as well. At the end of the month, I'm going to discuss book of this Project Hail Mary of Andy Weir. 31st March ko maybe I'll keep the discussion if you want to come. We have made book club, so we'll read one book and discuss it, or maybe if we are in great form, maybe 2 books. Also, if you want to join in of this book का discussion, if you have read it, तो वो भी करेंगे. But for now, let's go. See you. Tata. Bye. And suggest me some books which are good.